So, hello everyone, welcome back to the Kectil YouTube channel. And today we have the privilege of speaking with an extraordinary young leader, those who work with is shaping communities and inspiring the next generation of changemakers. Happiness Emordi is a purpose-driven leader with a bold vision to create positive change through projects, programs, and policies that strengthen youth empowerment, gender equality, and education. So thank you very much, Happiness Mordi, for being today with us. We are going today talk a lot about your journey, your challenges, and your vision for building a world where resilience meets opportunity. And thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Okay, and let's start with the first part of our discussion about your childhood background and personal journey. So, my first question will be who or what had the biggest influence on your decision to become a leader?
All right. Thank you so much for that question. For me, and then for the opportunity to share my story. For me, honestly, I would say that rejection itself has been one of my biggest influences, right? Every no, every missed opportunity, every door that didn't open forced me to look inward and ask if the world won't give me a seat at the table, then I can build one for myself and for others too. So that was me seeing the need and taking the lead for leadership. So but beyond that, my greatest influence has been the people and the realities I saw growing up. I mean, I grew up in a community where my both grandmother from the paternal and maternal side were denied education and were forced into early marriages. And I saw children around me, young girls around me being denied education, children being silenced in abuse, and the entire community being stripped of opportunities simply because they were born. So these images that I grew up with never really left me. They kind of like became the driving force that pushed me to step up, not just as a professional, but as a leader with responsibility. And along the way, I've had mentors in disguise, people who saw leadership in me, even when I didn't see it. Like I remember when I volunteered for a conference and a speaker told me that I would make a great project manager. That was when I was just doing protocol volunteering, or the people that have committed or entrusted me with their stories and trusted me to act on their behalf. So for me, if I'm to say who or what had the biggest influence on my decision to become a leader, I would say rejection shaped me. Purpose kind of like fueled me, and the people that trusted in me, the ability to lead as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that. It's a really inspiring story. I really like to talk with young leaders like you and record their stories for our YouTube channel. That's really inspiring thing, and of course, a lot of values and lessons we can learn together from such leaders like you. And once I prepared for today's interview, I went through your bio as well, and I just realized that you often speak about purpose-driven leadership. So I'm just
Yeah.
curious to ask about what does that mean to you personally?
All right. I mean, I think like purpose driven leadership is one of my very much like a personal mantra for me. I mean, if people around me know, but for me, what it means to me personally, purpose driven leadership, it means leading from a place that is deeper than titles, that is deeper than power, or that's deeper than the applause that comes with leadership. It means asking myself if everything called the titles, if everything called positional leadership was stripped away, or the recognition, the job, the platforms, would I still do the work that I do? And for me, my answer is yes, because I mean, leadership is anchored in purpose, not in position. So purpose-driven leadership for me is about aligning my influence with impact. It's about saying that I'm not here to simply manage tasks. I'm here to move more lives or help more lives. For me, that looks like building projects that empower young people, creating spaces where voices that are usually silenced can be heard, and ensuring that every initiative leaves people better than it found them. So it also means leading with responsibility, not with ego. I mean, purpose-driven leadership asks me to see beyond myself when it comes to leadership, to measure my success not by how necessarily I climb, but how many people that I can lift while I'm climbing. So that is what purpose-driven leadership um means for me as a person, and it's a personal mantra that I've worked from and I see leadership from. Thank you.
I love your definition of purpose-driven leadership. It's really, really great that you're thinking in that way. And I'm also curious to ask you about what role did your family or community play in your journey that you get this experience, that support for doing a lot of things.
All right. Thank you so much for that question. For me, my journey has never been a solo act. And I mean, the journey, I mean, I believe that man cannot thrive in isolation. And I come from a very settled home where um they applaud quiet strength, where my mom would always, I used to be an introvert where I would daydream a lot, keep the ideas in my head and let it die there. But my mom would always push me to um move for more. My family taught me resilience. I mean, for example, even in the face of limitations, I grew up in a family that modeled perseverance, sacrifice, and faith. We most likely didn't have all the answers, didn't have all the resources, but I think they gave me something greater, which is belief that I could reach for more, even when the circumstances suggested less. And for community, I mean, I feel like everybody requires some level of accountability circle that helps you grow. I like to call them my villagers, right? So I don't just call them friends or mentors or acquaintances. I like to call them villagers because they've been like my training ground and accountability circle from the very first people who trusted me with my very first volunteer role when I had zero or no experience, to those who affirmed me or continually affirm me when I doubt myself, to the friends, to the mentors who keep me grounded. They're all part of my becoming. So I call them my village because they remind me that leadership isn't about working alone, but it is about being carried by the shoulders of those who really believe in you and the work that you do and the potential that I carry. So yes, they really have been a major driving force for me when it comes to my growth journey. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, and continue talking about leadership. What are a defining moment that set you firmly on this path of leadership?
All right. Thank you for that question. I think everybody has their defining moment. And for me, it wasn't necessarily a big title or a grand promotion, or it was just a moment of realization. So I would like to take it back to my when I was volunteering for an event. I was volunteering as a protocol member for a tech conference while I was in the university. I've been 1 year. I mean, it's been 1 year since I graduated, but so far that has been a defining moment for me. In the event, my role was very simple: support people to their seats and all of that. But the way I carried myself, the way I leaned into responsibilities, people kept mistaking me for the project manager or project or event coordinator. And I didn't really correct them. I just did the work, right? I'm really fascinated by the behind the scene process of programs, projects, and all of that. And at the end of the event, as at the time, I did not know what I was going to do regarding career and all of that. But at the end of the event, a speaker put me aside and asked me, "What do you do?" And I didn't really have a polished answer, but I just said, I think I'm obsessed with things that make the things that make the work behind the scenes. I mean, the whole thought process of turning ideas on paper, or we want to do this, to actually making it a reality. And she looked at me and said, this was that I will never forget. And she said, "You're meant to be for the spotlight happiness and not to stay necessarily hidden at the background." And she said, "Have you tried considering project management? You make a very great project manager." And that moment for me was like someone held up a mirror that I've always been avoiding, right? And for the first
Mhm.
time, I saw myself differently. It was that conversation, very random conversation, that pushed me to start learning project management. I started taking courses. I started staying yes to roles that stretched me in project management. And that conversation was a defining moment. And for me today, it wasn't just about the career, it's about the identity. I currently work as a project manager or programs manager, but I see projects for me as vehicles for change. So that was really like a defining moment. And let me just say, it's the day that I stopped running from who I could be. I started stepping into who I was actually meant to be.
Thanks a lot. And you work across projects, program, and policies, as far as I know. How do these three pillars connect in your career? And also,
Mhm.
could you please tell us a bit about your journey as a Forbes BLK member and a Harvard trained leadership expert, it's really interesting to hear your story with this kind of expertise as well.
All right. Thank you for that question. And for me, answering the first question of for me, project programs and policies are not really separate lanes. I feel like they're kind of connected in they're kind of connected highways leading to the same destination, which is the bigger picture impact. Projects are like where ideas are tested. They are kind of like immediate on-ground actions that solve real-time problems, and every project is a proof of the possibility of impact. But I also think that programs kind of like takes it further. Programs in this case are much bigger systems that scale successful projects into something more sustainable. Moving from one-time impact, maybe you have a school outreach, but this time in approach to programs, you're thinking long-term transformation. And bringing it back to policies, I mean, policy is very intriguing. Seeing that I have a bachelor's degree background in international studies and diplomacy, and I've gone ahead to serve on several boards, several policy boards, as a young change maker. Policies are where the real performance happens. Policies create the enabling environment that allows programs and projects to thrive beyond individuals, beyond organizations, and even beyond me. So when I think about my work, I don't see these three pillars, that is projects, programs, so policies, as separate or standing apart or as separate. I see them as a ladder where projects kind of like spark change, where programs scale impact, scale the change, and where policies sustain the change. So this is why my work is hinged on these three, because I often believe that for somebody that is quite multi-potentialite, and I used to think is a cost, but the fact that it's true leadership is not really about choosing a lane or truly maximizing your potential. It's not about choosing one path. It's about connecting all the dots so that impact is not only felt, it is also multiplied, and it is also preserved. And with the work that I do, I mean, so far with the Harvard leadership, I realized that beyond just having the passion, beyond just having the fire and the will to want to create change, it was quite necessarily important that I take relevant knowledge base, because for me, learning is a never-ending curve. I take relevant knowledge-based certifications, and that was why I was able to apply for the Aspire Leadership Institute. And it was through the Aspire Leadership Institute that I got the scholarship to take a leadership course, undergo a leadership training and course with the Harvard Business School. And I would say that it gave me the very big mirror to see leadership from the bigger lenses of what I'm used to in Nigeria, right? So I know that in Nigeria, apologies, I was saying that the work, having to be opportune to apply and get a scholarship given by the Aspire Institute, Aspire Leadership Institute, to undergo a training in Harvard Business School, for me, it's a big opportunity. Why? Because it gave me the opportunity to see leadership, to learn leadership from a much wider and exposed perspective, as opposed to what I am used to. And I think every opportunity to learn is, I like to call myself a shameless learner, because learning is a never ending curve, right? We have to continually learn as long as we live, right? And it gave me lens ability to see, I like to call it globalization, ability to take my local knowledge um, with global knowledge to be able to provide globally asserted solutions for the people that I serve here in Nigeria, right? And that is what it was for me as a person. And not just that, I also was able to, when it comes to the Forbes, being given the opportunity to serve as a Forbes VOK member, has given me the opportunity to connect with a wider range of audience that from different countries of the world that I normally will not get access to from where I come from. So it is more like asserting the local work that I do, the local impact that I do on a much more global scale, and getting access to wide level exposure that has helped me scale and um, apply the impact work that I do. Thank you.
Thank you very much for mentioning that. And as a unique leader, you're just unique leader, and for me personally. And I'm just curious also to ask you, what three qualities do you believe every young leader must have today? What kind of skill they need to, to get in during their experience to be the authentic leader nowadays?
All right. I think I actually think that the world is evolving, and quite a number of qualities that young people must have to thrive in today's world. But if I'm to pick my top three, I would say number one is resilience, because rejections will come, doors will close. Some of your plans might not necessarily play out as they should. People would underestimate you, but resilience is what keeps you standing long enough to wait until there's the light at the end of the tunnel, or to wait until the tide turns in your favor, right? That is one. And if I'm going to pick another one, it would be vision, right? I not just seeing things as they are, but daring to see them as they could be, right? So
Mhm.
it is quite hard, particularly being looking at where I come from, to be able to see beyond your environment, right? But the ability to see pictures, to see how things should be in the future, regardless of how your current environment is, it's a top tier quality that you should have, because it helps you lead beyond survival into transformation. So when other people are seeing, okay, there's really nothing here, you are seeing the possibility of the transformation that can happen, right? And that's like a very unique quality that every leader should have. And finally, adaptability. The world is changing too fast for young persons to say they want to stay rigid. A young leader must know how to pivot, must know how to learn, must know how to unlearn, must know how to relearn in order to stay relevant and stay impactful. For example, there was a period in time where if you come out with a degree, you are good to go. I mean, if you come out well, distinction with a degree. But now there's the world of personal branding. You must know how to act personal branding. You must know how to tell your stories in ways that people have to uh, connect with it. You must know how to be able to position yourself in the world, because it's quite competitive out there right now. So for me, I'll just say resilience kind of like keeps you in the game. Vision shows you the way forward, and adaptability ensures that you do not get left behind when the world is moving at a very fast pace. So if you had to ask me, these are my top three qualities that every young leader in today's world should have as a survival kit. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for mentioning all of these important points for our young leaders, our viewers who's watching our interview today. And the next thing that I want to also just quickly discuss with you, it is about your international engagements. And as far as I know, you serve as a youth advisor to the EY delegation in Nigeria. So, what had that experience been like? Could you please tell us more about this opportunity that you got?
All right. Thank you so much for this question. Um, Serving as a youth advisor to the European Union delegation in Nigeria here and ECOWAS has been one of the most transformative experiences of my journey. It's more than a title. I see it as an opportunity to sit at a table where policies that affect millions of young people are shaped, and to ensure that our voices are not just heard but acted upon. It's like I am given the opportunity to act as the bridge for the voice of young people here in Nigeria to the European Union delegation. And for me, it has been a classroom of both an interest of leadership and diplomacy, where I have learned that advocacy is not just about speaking passionately, but about being able to negotiate strategically, being able to listen deeply to the people that you serve, and building the bridges between the policy that we make or we help the European Union make, and the lived
Mhm.
realities of the people that these policies should serve. So I think what makes it most rewarding is knowing that I am not sitting there on that table for myself alone, but I'm sitting there as a representative of countless of young Nigerians who deserve access, who deserve opportunity, and who deserve dignity. So for me, the seat is not necessarily mine, it is ours, and I treat it as a responsibility. I treat it with that responsibility to carry that I am serving as a voice of other people that necessarily might not have access to the room. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And what does participating in the World Bank Youth Summit meant to you? And also, how does it feel to represent youth voices on such influential global platforms like you doing it?
I think participating at the World Bank Youth Summit was more than, so always more than just a seat at the table. It was proof for me that first off, my work is being heard, and my work like getting some level of recognition. And it was also proof that the voices of young persons don't at the margin of decision are also necessary at the margin of decision making. Um, we belong to the center of decision making. It was like stepping into a space where global policies are shaped and boldly saying assertively that we're not just the leaders of tomorrow, we are the leaders of today. It was a chance to engage with policymakers, development experts, and innovators. But most importantly, I would say it was a platform to bring the actual real realities of young people in communities like mine into conversations that often feel distant. It reminded me that leadership was not about the titles. It was more about, like I always say, turning lived experiences of the people that I serve into global solutions. And that moment, as all really affirmed to me that my journey from rejections to global platform is not just personal, but it's collective. That every time one of us, one young Nigerian, one young African show up in these spaces, like global spaces like this, like the World Bank Youth Summit, we are opening the door wider and wider for other young persons who dream of having access to also stepping into rooms like this. That's how it was for me. That's what it means for me.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And can you also tell us a bit more about your work advocating for children's digital rights? Because I know that it is also part of your work that you're doing.
Yes. Um, I currently serve as a youth ambassador to the Five Rights Foundation, and what I do is advocate for children's digital rights, and it has been one of the closest things to my heart because today digital space is no longer a playing ground. It is now the new classroom. It is now the new marketplace with the advent of e-learning, e-commerce, and also it has built some level of new community. It's but while it offers endless opportunities, what has a good side also has a bad side. It also exposes children to the risks that they are often unequipped to handle, from cyberbullying to exploitation, right? All of these things are not perfect. These are things that are shaped as much as digital inclusion. It also has its challenges. My work has been to push the narrative that children deserve the same protection online as they also deserve offline. So I know there's a lot of work that is being put at child protection offline, but it also should, we should also, I try to advocate that we should also put the same level of intensity when it comes to protection of children online and digitally. Through my role as the youth ambassador with the Five Eyes Foundation, I've been able to contribute to global conversations. I was part of the youth consultant that was able to come up with the Global Digital Compact that was successfully adopted by the United Nations General Assembly last year, and ensuring that when leaders draft policies, we put our voice to ensure that they're also thinking about the children behind the screen, right? And for me, advocacy when it comes to children's rights is about shifting power, giving young people not just access to digital tools, but the knowledge necessary to leverage these tools to the best of his ability, to the best of their ability, the ability to safeguard them when they are using these digital tools, and the right for them to use these tools safely. Because if you want to build a future-ready generation, then we should not only think of digital literacy, we should also think of digital protection and digital empowerment as non-negotiable when it comes to advocating for children's digital rights.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your answer. And also another part for today's discussion that I will wanna bring to this table and for our viewers as well. It is challenges, lessons, your personal education and growth as well. So let's start about about some professional challenges that you may face during your career. So you speak openly about facing professional rejections as well, as far as I know. So what was the biggest lesson you learned from them?
For me, rejections has taught me a lot, more than books have ever taught me, right? Because it taught me that closed doors are often just redirections. And every no that I have gotten has and it has been very disappointing when you apply for like 20 stuff, you apply for 25 stuff, you apply for and often get maybe silence, maybe a no, maybe an unfortunately, can be very disappointing. But every no that I have gotten has helped me strip away fear and has forced me to sharpen my vision. So it means that I feel like when it comes to rejection, that it's a game of showing up. It has taught me the ability to show up regardless, because regardless of all the rejections that I have faced, there are still some global opportunities that I've still been able to access despite the numerous rejections. So I've learned that rejections does not necessarily define that I'm inadequate, but it also helps me to know that I need to probably learn more. I need to probably be more aligned, and that I can be. My biggest lessons for me is that I can be rejected from opportunities, but I must never reject myself. I must never say no to myself. So it has taught me to keep showing up regardless. And sometimes the only plan is just to show up. And the universe has a way of rewarding people that show up, right? So you show up again and again, again and again. And and also for me, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that for everybody that has done something innovative in life, majority of the time they had to try again and again and again. But where it comes to being that okay, you failed or rejection one is when you stop trying. So for me, it means that I have to keep trying to push for what I really want to push for. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And I know that a lot of leaders, young people, of course, everyone facing different challenges. So, was there ever a time you felt like giving up, and what helped you kept you going?
Right. I think there'll be numerous of times where you feel I felt like giving up. I think it's something very universal when it comes to growth, right? I mean, there have been many times, but especially when maybe the project that I'm working on feels too heavy, or the impact I've dreamed of seems too far away. But what has kept me going when I remember the faces of the young girls in classrooms during my school tour that told me that because of me, they can now speak out against some of the gender-based violence that goes on around them. I mean, if even one life changes through the work that I do, then giving up is not an option. And whenever I feel like giving up, like I said, I always try to um surround myself with people that help me um get motivated when it feels like okay, this is not working. I think I should give up. I think I should do all of this. But another thing that also helps me very importantly, beyond just the affirmations and telling myself, oh, you can do this, giving up is not an option, is the fact that when I look back at the work that I have done in the past, right? I like to call it the principle of self-efficacy. And it kind of like feeds my subconscious with the fact that I did it in the past, I would do more. If I could do this in the past with zero experience, then there's room for me to do more. So beyond all of the demotivation, I get myself back together and I put in the work to ensure that impact is being made, to ensure that the work that I do is not stopped as well. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And how do you manage pressure and responsibility in leadership roles?
Wow. I think leadership comes with a lot of pressure. Leadership comes with a lot of responsibility, particularly the niche that I find myself, which is project management. I manage it by remembering that leadership for me is not about perfection. The aim is not perfection. The aim is presence. Pressure is inevitable, but I see it as a proof that what I'm doing matters. I mean, I lean into structure, I lean into delegation, I have some grounded rituals that I do. But above all, I remind myself that that carrying the weight is a privilege because it means you are entrusted with impact. So the work that I do is a privilege to actually do them. I mean, there's this quote that I have I'm very much familiar with is the fact that oh, what a privilege to be once pressured, to be once tired, to be once burdened by the work that you used to dream of. So for me, it's actually a privilege to carry the pressure and the responsibility that comes with leadership.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And what advice would you give to young people who are afraid of failure? Because I think it's, that's usual thing that everyone starting to feel when they are starting to do something.
All right. Um, for me, I would say that don't fear failure, fear regret of not trying at all. I think failure is a necessary step when it comes to the ladder of success. And I would like them to maybe, I think it's all about the way you perspective, the way you see life. Failure is more like, for me, feedback. Failure is like data. Failure is like direction. But what is permanent is regret that you never tried. I mean, if you never try, you'll never know the size of your wings, right? If you never fly, you'll never really know the size of your wing. So fail forward, fail boldly, but never fail to start. Right. So that is one major advice that I would give to young people.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And another part of the question that I want to ask you is about theoretical and practical knowledges that we are getting during the, lifelong learning of leadership or any other kind of sphere. So, how do you integrate academic knowledge or theoretical knowledge with the real world leadership practice? What maybe skills you use, or maybe you have some advice how to do it for young leaders?
Well, for me, I would necessarily not say what skills, but I like to say that it's just the idea of the fact that understanding that by refusing to let theory stay in the classroom. So you've learned something. A mentor of mine would always say knowledge acquisition is a waste until there's knowledge application, right? So take whatever theory that you taught in classrooms, and I take this framework, I take the models, I take the strategies, and I test them in the field, right? Whether when I'm managing a project or I'm running an advocacy campaign, knowledge becomes power only. I mean, there's the popular saying knowledge is power, but no, knowledge becomes power only when it is translated into actual real work, only when it is translated into actual impact. So I think maybe when young leaders see it from this perspective, it is quite easier to understand that whatever stays in the book deserves to actually be implemented. And for it to be implemented, it means we have to take the lead, make it work. Right.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And are there any books, mentors, or courses that greatly influence your development? And maybe some of them you can recommend for our viewers.
Yes, I, and when it comes to book, I think books are one of the biggest ways that you can ever learn. And books
I
like,
cannot hear you properly. Sorry, sorry.
can you hear me?
Yes, now it's more better. So could you please repeat again? No, nothing again.
Oh,
Maybe try
okay.
to put your
Hear me?
headphones microphone more closer to yours.
All right. Is it better now?
Yes, it's more better. Thanks.
All right. So I say when it comes to books, books are one of the best ways that you can ever learn. And for me, books like Atomic Habits by James Clear, books like Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek, books like Becoming, that's a very interesting book by Michelle Obama, has shaped my philosophy. I've shaped all the things that I do, right? And also being a part of programs like Kectil Leadership Program and Aspire Leadership Institute and a couple of other programs that also fall in line of courses and programs became mirrors and ladders. I mean, they reflect, they help me see my blind spots and help me understand where I need to go higher. Each one of them reminded me that leadership is both an inward and outward journey. So feeding on books like Atomic Habits, Becoming by Michelle Obama, and Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek, and joining programs like Kectil and Aspire Leadership has helped me and generally influenced or greatly influenced my development journey.
Thanks a lot. And you mentioned about the Kectil program, and I think that it's time to start to talk more about the Kectil program because you're also the Kectil program participant as well. So, how did you first hear about the Kectil program?
All right. For me, let me- I first learned about the Kectil program through um a mentor, right? And he happened to be a part of the Kectil program. His name is Dr. Favor Kile.
Oh, I know
Yes.
him. I know
Yes.
him. That's great.
And I had he's a young change, I mean, he's an amazing change maker doing great stuff. I took part of his program. That's the Global Leaders and Entrepreneurship Academy, Yela. And beyond all of that, I saw the level of one major way I learn is when I see people doing amazing things that I really aim to do. I look at the journey and I saw that he took the Celtic program and I could see the high level advancement in his career journey. That was how I found the Kectil program. And I worked for like a year to make sure that I was eligible to be selected and eventually got selected for the program. And it's been a very interesting learning journey for me with the program. And I highly recommend it to any other young change maker. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And what were the most valuable skills or lessons you gained from the program?
Oh, there are a lot of valuable skills that I've learned from the program. I mean, it has taught me, amidst other things, the art of cross-cultural leadership, seeing that you have people in the program from different countries of the world. It taught me how to collaborate across borders, how to respect diversity, and how to still build a unified vision, right? It had also helped me strengthen my voice as a change maker, reminding me that authenticity is power. And one major module, I don't know if it's cool to say that, that really helped me is the mental health and the personal finance module because I've been able to apply this into my personal life and I have seen the changes that I learned from the personal finance, particularly module when it comes to my financial life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And you took participation in different leadership programs, right? And
Yes.
in what ways is the Kectil program different from other leadership programs you have joined?
Wow. So I would say that one major differentiating factor is the fact that Kectil program is not just a leadership program, right? It's I don't know, I was like let's call it a movement now because I mean many programs, other programs leadership, but Kectil program builds leaders who build leaders now. So using the case study of the story of Mr. Favor, right, who I've been following his work. He also work the amazing work that he does has also built a leader like me. So that is one unique differentiating factor of Kectil is the fact that it emphasizes mentorship, it emphasizes authenticity, and the courage to lead even when it's inconvenient. And that's something that is rare when it comes to all our programs.
Thanks a lot. And how would you describe the impact of Kectil on your career and leadership journey? Maybe it had some influence that really changed something in your leadership style or maybe in your career.
Okay, I think for me, Kelsey has expanded my vision. I mean, it gave me wide level global exposure and it strengthened my voice, connected me with amazing mentors and peers who challenged me to grow. And every project I lead now carries a piece of the Kectil DNA, which is courage, authenticity, and service. So yeah, it has really had significant impact in the work that I do, ranging from career and my leadership journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And we almost finalizing today's discussion, but still I have a few questions to you because your story, your lessons, it's really inspiring and really motivates even me through this screen once we're talking with you. So, what advice would you give to young people who want to start their own leadership journey?
Ooh, First off, I mean, I just want to say congratulations to anybody who finally realizes that, okay, this is the time to start your leadership journey. You are, I mean, having the consciousness alone shows some level of growth, right? And what advice will I give? Start where you are. Start with what you have. Don't wait for a title. I mean, when you start, this titles might necessarily not come. This global opportunities might necessarily not come. The funding might necessarily not be there. Don't wait for title. Don't wait for funding. Don't wait for permission. Leadership begins the moment when you decide to solve a problem around you. The world doesn't necessarily need perfect leaders. It needs present ones that have the heart to make impact. So start where you are. Start with what you have. Do not wait until things are perfect before you start your leadership journey, because I mean all of these things you will attract all of these things like a magnet as you begin or you journey through your leadership journey.
Thank you very much. And if you could share one mindset or habit that has been key to your success, what would it be?
Wow. This is a very in-depth one. For me, I think it will be consistency. The mindset of consistency, building the habit of consistency. Um, Talents opens doors. Um, Skills are really good, but consistency keeps them open. Consistency sustains them. I mean, for me, I try to show up even when it is hard, even when it feels unseen. Over time, that consistency would eventually compound into credibility. And credibility these days builds high level influence, right? So showing up, even if that's the only plan you have, show up, show good, show well. Despite your talent, if you don't show up every day, if you don't show up consistently, um, it might not build some level of the influence that you're looking for. So consistency is one major habit or mindset that I would highly recommend that has worked for me and most likely would work for any young leader who really wants to put things first.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And last question for today's discussion. But I believe that we will maybe have one more interview in the future to discuss more deeply about your impactful project that you're doing as well. So my question is, how do you envision the next generation of leaders shaping a more inclusive and sustainable world?
Oh, interesting. I actually think that we've come to a point where I believe that the next generation of leaders will lead with empathy, right? I foresee that the next generation of leaders will lead with empathy as much as they lead with expertise. So because there are a lot of skilled people, but we need more leaders that understand the power of leading with empathy. Yes, and the next generation of leaders, I think that we would prioritize inclusion, we would prioritize sustainability and justice, not just as afterthought of things that should come later, but as the foundation of the work that we do. And I think that our leadership will be less more about ego, but more about ecosystems, right? More about creating a world where everyone, especially the most marginalized people in the society, have a seat at the table. That is the work that we're doing, and that is what I envision um, for the next generation of leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much for today's conversation because it was really inspiring conversation with you, and I think a true symbol of impact and visionary leadership. Your story reminds everyone that setback can be powerful stepping stones toward growth and transformation, and yeah, from empowering youth and women to shaping global policies, it's truly inspiring. And your story also shows us that leadership with purpose has the power to break barriers and unlock limitless potential as well. So we hope this interview leaves everyone viewer motivated to take bold steps in their own journey of impact. And if our viewers enjoyed this conversation, I believe they enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
please don't forget to like this, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories, which you can find already on our YouTube channel. And on not only stories, some also educational videos as well, webinars and live streams of our uh, global conferences. So yeah, please be subscribed with us. Until next time, keep striving, keep leading, and keep making a difference. Thank you very, very much, Happiness Emordi, for today's interview and for today's conversation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having me. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thanks.